I'm Jake Willers, and for the past few months, deep in the Peruvian jungle, a project has been unfolding which will let me take you up close and personal to one of the world's most beautiful wild events.
They had to go really far to see the macaws.
Yes, Jake and his crew traveled deep into the Amazon jungle to visit locations where villagers are willing to help them observe their colorful neighbors. Macaws are the largest member of the parrot family. But they're shy and elusive. They hide deep in the Amazon, but often come out to feed on clay licks found along some rivers.
Why do they eat the clay licks?
They use the clay licks as a rich source of minerals to neutralize toxins in their diet.
The trouble is, these macaws aren't used to people, so these guys have spent the last few months preparing for my arrival. How's it going, guys?
Locals have been wearing Jake's clothes, which have been sent ahead. This will help acclimate the birds to his presence. The team is also creating a fort as close to the clay lick as possible. This will keep them hidden and prevent startling the macaws.
This is quite an unusual clay lick, as it's been formed by the clay sliding down and forming this ridge. A more typical one is like the one that's behind me here, which is more of a wall or a cliff face, and the birds will come along and actually have to hang on vertically while they lick the clay. But the locals have told me that although this is a 500-metre long clay lick, they tend to primarily stay on this part here, probably because they can just land on the top of it and stand there and have a lick and not worry too much about having to hang on. Probably makes it a lot easier for them to keep an eye out for predators and check out what's going on all around them.
What predators are they looking out for?
Though snakes and eagles prey on the macaws, humans pose the greatest threat to their survival in the wild, as macaws are a highly sought-after exotic pet. Many species of macaw are now endangered, and hunting them is illegal.
If the macaws can't access the clay lick, say due to it raining or there being too many predators around, then they have to actually change their diet to accommodate.
What do macaws eat?
Macaws mainly eat seeds, but they'll also eat nuts, leaves, and flowers from time to time. They pluck fruit off trees and use their hooked beaks to tear out the seeds.
There's only a few dozen clay licks like this throughout Peru, and a few more known in neighbouring countries like Ecuador and Bolivia. And the macaws will have their favourites, but if they can't access it, then they'll use any number in the area. This one's particularly special as the salt minerals are contained throughout the clay, whereas some of the walls just have a very thin layer where the salt minerals occur, so the birds will have to congregate heavily around that area to be able to get them. Macaws don't just come down and land on the clay and start feeding. What they actually do is start to congregate in large numbers in these surrounding trees, and they'll just wait and watch, and this may take hours, 2 or 3 hours, before they're happy that there's no predators around, before one or maybe two will come down and venture onto the clay and start feeding. Now this is normally the most desperate, the ones that really need the minerals, and they'll approach the clay, start feeding away, and it will give confidence to the rest in the trees. Slowly they'll all come down as it's safety in numbers. Once they're down here, they'll start digging away with their beaks into the clay, and they'll remove small chunks into their beaks, and they'll roll it round, licking away all the salts and minerals that they need. Now, this will normally take a pair around 20 minutes or so. And once they've had their fill, the pairs will leave and they'll head off into the forest for a day's feeding.
Will people scare away the macaws for a long time?
There are many factors that could keep the macaws away. It's possible that the macaws were scared off by the sight of people. If frightened, they will often find a more suitable clay lick. And in addition, they will not feed off the clay licks in the rain, so the group is set back another day.
It's actually the dry season at the moment. You wouldn't believe it. But rains like this can come in at any time and last from anything from 4 hours up to 2 days. The macaws don't like this weather at all. They'll go and hide themselves up in their nests, so they won't use the clay licks when it's raining.
Fortunately, the rains are short-lived, and the group relocates the hideout near a better viewing area.
We're almost finished now. Just putting the finishing touches on. I'm just going to give them a hand to put the rest of the wall up, and then we're ready for the morning, and that's when it's a big test to see if it's going to work. Well, it's the moment of truth this morning. We finished the hide yesterday, and it's now about 6:30 in the morning. The parrots are starting to congregate in the trees behind me. You can hear them up there squawking away. It's quite misty this morning, so it's given us a bit of cover to get in here and get organised. But very shortly now, maybe in an hour or so, they should start flying round overhead, checking that the area is safe and clear of predators, and then come down onto the clay lick. But if there's anything abnormal, any noise, or they see any movement, there's no chance they'll come down. Just got to sit tight. The first macaw has just landed. It's been about 2.5, 3 hours. He's just come down. He's now sat right on the top. He's looking around. Just checking everything's safe. We've actually got a boat coming down the river at the same time. So it'll be interesting to see if he actually stays there when the boat will scare him off. So far, he's just stood right up, really alert. Now it's going to take a few minutes before the other macaws get the confidence to come down. Now he's there. As long as they see he's safe, they'll follow. The others are making a lot of squawking. This may be because the boat's still hanging around. So they're perhaps just giving warning signals, but luckily he's not moved yet.
They sure are loud.
Yes, they are. A macaw can scream at over 105 decibels. Macaws are social birds and need plenty of interaction. The fact that macaws are highly intelligent and may talk when trained as pets, sometimes learning hundreds of words, have helped to make them a sought-after pet. As Jake waits patiently, the macaws gather. Within 5 to 10 minutes, there are dozens. There's a mix of scarlet and red and green macaws. They live in pairs, and even within a flock, they will often stay together as couples.
How do you become a scientist that studies birds like macaws?
Good question. You should focus on biology for now, but later you'll want to look into courses in zoology or ornithology. Ornithologists are important to science because they study birds and their effects on the environment. For instance, ornithologists study the impact birds have on agriculture. Some birds are pests, while others eat insects and are therefore beneficial to farmers. Bird conservation is especially important. Some macaw populations have been decimated, and scientists hope to preserve their future in the wild to ensure the survival of these beautiful creatures.